Alright, to see the sum and product of the roots. A little bit of a disclaimer, this is probably one of your hardest chapter, other than the problem solving questions. So this is sum and product, but a little bit, problem solving version, like a harder version. So if you don't completely get this, that is okay. Maybe just do first 1 and 2 questions, but then if you can't extend yourself to 4 and 5, those are your A kind of level questions. So don't stress as long as you can kind of get the basics. But if you want some more help, please do let me know. Now, all you have to do is understand that, there's only one little thing you need to write down. You just got to apply that knowledge. So, for a quadratic, equation functions, we know that we have 2 roots maximum. Okay, so we get 2 roots, and we're going to call them alpha and beta. Now, something we do know is adding them, so the sum of them, will actually give us this kind of coefficient. So this is what you need to write down. When you add them together, alpha and beta, which is the roots, if you add them together, you actually get minus b over a. So these a, b, c's obviously come from the coefficients of each of those terms. Okay, so apparently that is a relationship we can see. And similarly, this one's the product option. So when you times the alpha and beta, the 2 roots, you actually get c over a. And that's a relationship we can have a look in this example over here. So noticing this quadratic, so I'll write it on the side so we can kind of annotate and follow along. So you might want to write this down in your book, not just watch. So this is our quadratic, and we can write a, b, and c down. A is 2, b is minus 2, c is minus 1. Okay. Now, if I add the 2 roots together, I apparently get minus b over a. So if I add a plus b, whatever the 2 roots are, okay, I don't know them off by heart because I haven't factorized it and solved it. If I add them together, I should get minus b over a. So minus b in our case, so minus 2, and then a is 2. So apparently I get 2 over 2, which is 1. So if I add the 2 roots, I get 1. And another fact is when I times them together, the products of it, I get c over a. C over a in our case is minus 1 over 2. So that is apparently what I would get. So if I just quickly use, rather than trying to actually solve it, if I go to equations, so menu, equations, polynomial, degree, and I can actually just quickly put some numbers in. So a is 2, b is minus 2, c is minus 1, and try it. I get, these are my apparently answers. So x, if I put in the calculator, I get 1 plus square root 3 over 2, and then, or 1 minus square root 3 over 2. So basically, if I add these 2 together, I should get 1. So on the calculator, let me try. So 1 plus square root 3 over 2 plus, make sure you were using some fractions, 3 over 2. I get 1. So I just kind of tried that on my calculator. So when I add these 2 together, I did get 1. Okay, so it kind of worked out. If I times them, so I'm going to go back and times them on my calculator, I get minus 1 over half. So you can check that on your calculator. I didn't, obviously you can't see my screen of the calculator, but it does check out. It works. So those are the 2 kind of facts that we can use to be able to kind of problem solve different questions. So we are going to find the sum and product of the roots of these and check your answer by solving the quadratics. So all I have to do, I don't have to find my roots first. They want you to check your answer by solving the quadratic. So it's the second step. The first step is to just write the formulas that we have learnt today. So this, if I add the 2 roots together, I should get minus b over a. And then if I times them together, I should get c over a. So this is what I'm just trying to find. And all I have to do in order to find the answers to these is just find my a, b, and c. A is going to be 25 for this question. B is going to be minus 20 for this question. C is going to be 1. So all I have to do is just substitute that in. So I've got a minus b, so I've got a minus 20. And then an a is 25. So if I write that nicely, 20 over 25. Now remember, whenever I have a fractions in that year 11 level, we should simplify it down. So that should turn into 4 over 5 if I divide it both by 5. C over a, 1 divided by 25. I can't simplify that any further. So that's what I get. those are, so this answer, that's 4 over 5 is the sum of the two roots. 1 over 25 is the product of my two roots. So I've kind of figured it out, and we're going to double check this by solving the quadratic. So I need to actually solve the quadratic. Right, so this is the quadratic that I'm trying to solve. And I don't have the luxury of doing it on a graphics calculator anymore, so I have to maybe use one of my factorization method. So I'm going to use, just the easiest one for me is quadratic formula. So again, we already know A, B, and C. And then I'm just going to put it in my formula. So I get 20 just substituting values in. If you are still not feeling confident with this, you might have to go back and do some more homework, okay? We have done this already, so minus 100 divided by 50. I'm just going to use a calculator now. And then, so 20 plus or minus square root of 300 over 50. Okay, if I, let me do it manually. So this one, I could write it as 10 square root 3 because 10 squared is 100, and I factored it out. And then I can divide every term by 10, so my final answer would be 2 plus or minus square root 3 over 5. So this is my most simplified answer, and I can just double check that using a calculator. Most of the time these questions will be on the calculator side because they are a little bit tricky, but it's still good practice to be able to, you know, do things on with your just your brain. So these are my two solutions of my roots. You've got a plus option and a minus option. So let's double check. Let me just zoom out a little bit and then go over here. Maybe I'll write it over here. So we need to check it. Let's check it. So apparently if I add the two roots together, I should get 4 over 5. I'm just reading it off from here. Okay, and then we're going to check also when I times the two roots together, I get 1 over 25. So that's what we're going to check using the roots that we have found today. So alpha plus beta, you can label it whatever you want. So this is what I need to do on my calculator. So I'm going to add these two together on my calculator and just double check that this is what I get. So that is what you're checking. I get 4 over 5. All right, wonderful. All right, let's try the other one. So if I times them together, hopefully I get 1 over 25. So once you do it once on the calculator, you can just go back and edit it. And I do get it. So that is me checking that the answer's correct and the formulas definitely work. So you should be able to do question 1 to 5. Give it a go. Let me know if you need any help. There are a variety of questions, so please do let me know. Yeah. Let's do example 10, which is a bit of a harder one. So the roots of the equation, we've got our quadratic formula, are alpha and beta. Find the quadratic equation with roots 3 alpha and 3 beta. So now we have to kind of apply our knowledge, okay? So we've got two roots, alpha and beta, so we'll give it a go. So things we do know, you can write A, B, and C. So I'm going to start there, okay? Start with the things you do know. And then if we have alpha and beta, so maybe I will write what the products of these are. So the formula was that when you add them, you get minus b over a. So I'm going to, you know, at least start over there. And then when you times them together, I think you get c over a, was it? C over a. So obviously I'm not remembering these. These can just go on your note sheet. Alright, so this one minus b over a, so that'll be minus 5 over 4. C over a, so minus 1 over 4. So these are my options. Now, the roots 3a and 3b, so this is kind of where we need to look at. We need to find a new quadratic function that has those roots. Well, if I have a look at it, so if I figure it out, 3a is one of the roots, and if I add 3 beta to it, now I can't actually figure it out because I don't have my new quadratic formula, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. This is what we're trying to figure out. These A, B, and C's, I don't know them. But what I can do is kind of factor out, using some algebra skills, I've just factored out the 3's. And because we're using the same alpha and beta, and I can kind of, I know that these are all the same thing, so I should be able to actually manipulate that, and then instead of writing alpha plus beta, I should be able to write this answer in and figure out what the sum of those two roots are. So if I just put that in the calculator, I should get minus 15 over 4. So apparently my my sums of the roots give you minus 15 over 4. And we always know that that refers back to minus b over a. So if you have a close look, I should actually be able to tell you, what my a is and what my b is. So I should actually be able to write that down, but I won't do that now because I want to show you that it works with the second one as well. Actually, let's write it down. A is 4 from just looking at this, and B is 15. Okay, I just got to find C, and hopefully it agrees with this A over here. So again, we've done the sum, so now I need to do the product. So if I times them, 3B, so that will turn into 9AB. Okay, so that would turn into 9, and then I can substitute this one as my AB, so minus 1 over 4. So that means minus 9 over 4 is my products of these two new roots. So that means that is going to equal C over A, and hopefully you can see that A is the same again. Look, A is the same. And then maybe I'll use a different color. What color should I use? Grey. Minus 9 is going to be my C. So a new fact. So again, from this, A is 4, so we're happy with that. C is minus 9. So now we actually just found out A, B's, and C's for this new quadratic function. So find the quadratic equation. So all I have to do is write my final quadratic equation. So therefore, it's going to be ax squared plus bx plus b, but using our new a values. So a is 4, our b was 15, and then my c is negative 9. So this is this quadratic equation that they were looking for. And that's the relationship. So you're just going to have to apply a bit of knowledge and a bit of problem solving skills to do these questions. But the question, 6 to 8, will be quite closely related to these, and it might get a little bit harder, and I think I put them as extension questions. You don't necessarily have to do them if you are running out of time or not necessarily up to there.